third person on the panel, Sean from Action Retro. You had been We'll save the intro for when we actually officially start recording for the audio,
which should be
which should be soon.
AM. Yes.
Everything looks good out there. So why don't we go ahead and John and just fire it off, okay?
All right, let's go.
Let's go in 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the RetroMacCast with James and John. This is episode 539 for August 23rd, 2020. Good morning, John.
Good morning, James.
And good morning, Sean.
Good morning.
John and Sean. Sean is joining us. He is Action Retro. We mentioned that name over and over last week because one of our news items was his latest project, the Cursed SE, which is an ongoing saga. And we'll talk about that later on in the show, and we'll give you a proper introduction and get a background on the channel. But I guess real quickly here up front, since you're let's see. Well, we might as well introduce you now since you're sitting where in the country?
So I'm here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And how is Philadelphia these days relative to what's going on? You're referring to the weather.
The weather, yeah.
Okay, I know.
Well, it could be taken two ways depending on where. If you're out in the country, you might think I meant something different, but no, it's fairly quiet, a little muggy out.
And you're hunkered down and staying safe. What is what are the restrictions out there in Philadelphia right now?
Anything? I think it's just wear a mask.
Yeah,
it's nothing too crazy. I mean, the good thing about Philly, for whatever reason, everyone seems to be wearing a mask. I mean, I hear on the news people complaining like, no one's wearing a mask, but it's kind of unusual to see someone without a mask here.
Oh, good.
Pretty nice, yeah.
Yeah, we're catching on down here in Florida.
Yeah.
Because we're catching down here in Florida. Yes.
People are starting to come around. Well, good. And we'll go. Why don't we'll save the rest of it for the segment later on. I want to get a background of the Action Retro Challenge and how you got into what you're doing, your computer background. But we need to do our regular stuff here at the beginning.
That's right.
What is that? What do we do?
Well, we talk about new listener or new additions,
new members. Well, we hope they're listening.
Yes,
we hope that's why they're joining us. There were actually quite a few, maybe two.
We got the Sean bump.
Quite a few.
From
Sean joined us, and then there
total
there were like 15. So I'm not going to read all the names. You guys know who you are. But thanks for joining the Facebook page. And that was quick. well, how about this, Sean? Answer the questions for us. What did you respond when we asked what were your favorite Mac and your favorite OS? What were the answers?
Well, I don't want to start any drama, but my favorite Mac, LC575. I don't think that's the most popular Mac out there, but it has that glorious Trinitron display.
Oh yeah,
that was the first machine I ever played Warcraft on, so it's got a special place for me. Plus, you can pull that motherboard out and stick it in something else to make like a
color classic.
Yeah, which I always wanted to do. So
that wasn't your first.
LC575 at my mother's house. Keep meaning to go get it for the past 10 years, but it's still there.
That wasn't your first Mac, was it?
No, it was the thrift shop find. Yeah.
Good thrift shop find. Wow, nice.
Cool. And your favorite OS?
So that one's going to be controversial. I answered Linux.
Oh no!
All right, that was it for RetroMacCast.
I guess I need to rewrite the question. It should be your favorite Apple-derived OS. But okay, well,
then I'd have to put BSD.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, coming up on the show, we've got some eBay finds here, and then we'll go in depth with Sean on Action Retro. Got a little bit of news. Anything else, John, we need to mention?
I think that's it.
All right. We'll be right back. All right, checking in with the chat room. Klaus from Sweden. Joe says good evening. And Jeremy Travis from London. It's slightly crazy in London, and it's young people not bothering with masks. Yes,
They're not bothered.
darn it, the kids.
Always the young people.
They're living their lives. They'll never die, right?
Think
They're
they're
going to live forever. Mm-hmm. But they might be invincible.
Yeah, you never know, I guess.
But we're not. Us old guys. All right. John, Sean, you guys got the auctions pulled up?
I do. Hang on.
Well, all right. Well, I'm gonna go through the ones from last week here. If I can
Here we go.
get all my windows under control.
Yeah.
Got so much stuff going on here. All right. Okay. You ready, John?
Yep. All set.
All right. Let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. eBay finds. What happened last week? We'll see if Sean bid on any of these. Well, nobody bid on the that extremely rare Apple dealer sign. You know, the cool one written at a 45-degree angle with the 6 colors.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted $499 for that. Did not get that. And then I closed the window where I saw it. They relisted it. And let's see what happened with it. Relisted. And did they lower the price? Anybody? No.
No.
No, still listed for $49. But there is a make an offer that ends in 6 days. Then the black ADB Mouse 2 that would go very well with your Macintosh TV. Any guesses? What do you think that thing sold for? It did sell.
Oh goodness.
Sean, give me a
Over
number.
100, I'm gonna guess.
Good. How far over 100?
14
14 bids. Close. $108.50.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very glad I got mine for 20.
Nice.
Signed by Woz.
Is the sign? Is it signed in a different color ink?
It's a silver.
Black. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where is it? Can you show it? To me?
Yeah, hang on.
All right, you go get that, and we'll keep moving. The Picasso Mac sealed manual still available. Buy it now. $89.95. All right, John's back. They show us that gem. This is the great thing about video, right? We're just learning this thing. You actually show people things.
Wow.
Look at that. Oh, that thing was once in Waz's hands.
That's it. Yeah. So, and again, this goes very well with my Macintosh TV. So,
All right. First, I know it's another sign. I'm a sucker for these signs, but this one is new. I mean, it's unique. We haven't seen ones like this, and I think I always think they're slick, all these signs, but this one is particularly so. The title says Apple Macintosh. Oops. Let me pull it up on the video here so people can see what I'm talking about. Wouldn't that be helpful? That's the thing when I'm managing all this stuff that's going on. The title says, let's get us all to look at it. Apple Macintosh 75 centimeter plastic signboard advertising Kanban vintage from Japan. And the description doesn't say much other than 100% authentic item from Japan. Okay, got it. So it's in Japan, I take it. And the picture, well, you see it's black and it says Apple Computer Authorized Reseller with the 6-color Apple logo, registered trademark. It's on like some kind of what is that material, John?
It just looks like a semi-opaque plastic, like plexiglass or something like that.
Well, it's thick though, right? It's got a thickness like a foam core. You think that's that's like a hard plastic?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. And then you think that's like painted on somehow?
No, that's probably like a Duratran material. It's a backlit. It's specifically meant for being backlit.
Wow.
And that's probably just mounted to that piece of plastic.
And that's awesome. What makes it super cool.
Because when you shine a light from behind,
then it comes to life.
Yeah.
And on that black, with that black
Mm-hmm.
surface, it looks spectacular. It really shows that
fantastic.
contrast of the 6 colors and the Apple Computer authorized reseller. Really cool. I don't think this comes with any lighting. I think you'd have to supply that yourself. It's going to cost you.
Oh.
Maybe
first of all, it's what,
Mhm.
75 centimeters by 75 centimeters for size.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. That's like metric. It sounds like a lot, 75. It's going to cost you, but I look at this more of inspiration for something you might be able to do yourself.
Yes.
Because if you're not going to, a lot of people won't be able to afford these.
No.
Yeah, 1,000. It's a very specific number. $1,140.19.
Shipping from Japan.
Shipping from Japan to get it to Florida would cost $60. No make an offer. Do you have any cool signage, Sean, in your little shop there?
I do not. Although I did recently buy something you featured previously, which was that Etsy print of the Picasso Mac.
Oh,
That'll be
yeah,
my
okay.
first
Mhm.
signage. Yeah.
Very nice.
Do you have it up on the wall yet?
No, but still in transit.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sweet.
So to kind of date when this sign would have been up, it still says Apple Computer,
right?
But it is using as opposed to, Apple Computers isn't called Apple Computers anymore,
right? But that's pretty recent,
right? But it is using the Apple Garmin font.
Sure. So it's probably early
late
to 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, prior to Steve Jobs coming back, right?
Right.
And ridding us of that cursed 6-color Apple that we all love. Okay. Let's move on.
All right. Next up, we have a numeric keypad for this. This is for the 128 and 512K Macintosh, and it is exactly what I just said. So what it is this has the kind of telephone cord. This would plug in where the keyboard plugged in, and then you would plug the keyboard into this guy. And that's what it did. It gave you a nice matching. Of course, when the Mac Plus came out, the Mac Plus keyboard had the numeric pad built in. So,
did you plug this into your phone too as a quick dialer?
Beep, 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 $25. Very nice. That it's current bid. And this is bid not buy it now, but it does have one bid for $25 right now. For us from Grand Ledge, Michigan, it would be $18 shipping. And what else can we tell you? It's a very nice thing if you find yourself needing to input a lot of numbers on your 512 or 128K Mac. I highly recommend one of these.
Now, I know I've got one of these. I've never hooked it up.
Same here.
Never used it. Here's a question. Maybe one of you know. So look at the keys, right? So it's not just a numeric keypad. There are arrows on there as well.
Which would make sense if you're at left and right and up and down, right?
Yeah. Well, how do you activate those?
Yeah, good question.
Somebody out there in the chat, somebody must know the answer to this, because there's no like shift key or some kind of
unless it's exactly it is usually you're using like the shift key on the actual keyboard.
Oh,
right.
Could be.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was in great shape. The feet are intact.
Oh, absolutely.
No yellowing.
No more yellowing than probably your keyboard already has anyway.
Of course, you can see there in how you have to daisy chain it with your keyboard.
Now, I wonder if this, because that's, those cables are pretty long, and I wonder if this would have originally also come with like a shorter cable to go from your keyboard to your, because that's a lot of cable. Otherwise, kind of floating around your desktop.
I guess. So maybe you could strap it to your leg or something, and for some tactical accounting. I don't know if that's the original cable or if that's a keyboard cable that's connected to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, just don't use a phone cable.
No. It won't even fit. It's these are actually like a pin narrower than their standard phone cable.
Well, it would fit.
Really?
Would they? I thought they were narrower.
I think they are the same. Just two of the connectors are reversed, which
really?
shorts out the keyboard. far as I know.
Okay.
I didn't remember
Not
that it
good.
did damage, but that's dangerous. All right.
Yeah.
That's a warning. Don't plug this into your phone. If anybody's still got a phone out there, maybe that's too old. Like a real,
Right.
Well,
Retro.
I have a
Welcome
phone.
to the Retro
It only
Phone
has
Cast.
USB though, so it's not going to fit.
Klaus does the conversion for us. 75 centimeters is 29.5 inches. Yes. Okay, good. That's good to
Good
know.
size.
Almost, that's close to 3 feet. It's a good size. Yeah. And I don't know the reference. Derek says that you activate the arrow keys with courage, according to Phil Schiller. What does that mean? I'm missing that joke. You guys laughed like you knew what was going on. All right.
I'm assuming it's a reference to one of the keynotes, which Derek has memorized, all of them.
You activate them with courage. Well, I know that's the name of that's the show title. I just got to figure out what it means. All right. And finally, we all should be wearing one of these because without this little guy, shares of Apple stock wouldn't be trading over $500 a piece at this point. This is the Apple iMac limited edition collectible watch from 2000.
Wow.
2000. So it didn't come out at the beginning of the iMac. They said 500 were made. This is number 78. And let's see. Condition is pre-owned. It says it was given to me for sales performance when I worked at retail with Apple products in Miami, Florida back around 2000. I wore it a few times, put it in a drawer, and forgot about it for 20 years. And let's see what else. Original band, some light scratches on the back. Never had a box as far as I can remember.
Interesting.
That.
Wow.
Yeah. Does it work? Do we know that much?
Hopefully the battery on those things
Well,
doesn't.
There's no way of
wonky.
telling. Even if it worked, there's no way of telling because nobody can read that method of. That's like an ancient way of telling the time. It's like akin to the sundial.
Those look like glow in the dark watch hands.
It does, yeah, like the old radium type.
Oh, you think it's radioactive?
No, well, no,
Just as well, it doesn't work. So it's a what is like a pewter kind of looking.
That's what it looks like. It kind of. I like the embossed, kind of raised. So just monochromatic. It's a cool look. Yeah,
and it's a kind of a top-down shot of an original iMac. You see the handle and the venting and the Apple
That's
logo
an interesting view of it. You'd think they used the side or something.
Right.
Yeah. Cool.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, and then a leather band, and then it's a little scratch on the back, but it does say 78 of 500.
Very reasonable starting bid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is what?
$150. I think that's quite reasonable.
Yeah. That is a sharp-looking timepiece.
Yeah.
I'm also a sucker for Apple timepieces, but I've got enough already.
I was going to say you've saturated your collection, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, if it were a 6-color Apple logo one, I'd be there in a hurry. But
do you have your watches like in a nice display, like all the watches together or anything like that?
That's a good idea. I shall do that when
I think maybe also a collection spotlight is in order for all your watches because I don't think we've ever done one.
I'm sure we have some. Well, I don't know. I'll do that. In the new place.
Okay.
I'll have the opportunity to explore how I display all those smaller items like that. All right. Well, $150. Make an offer, and this one ends in 4 days. Okay, we get caught up.
I see. Yep, Derek has mentioned the courage is the excuse they use to explain the removal of the headphone jack in the iPhone.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was a dig on that guy.
That guy,
Schiller.
He said that Apple needed courage to do that. All right, let's see here. This is your segment, Sean. We'll just sit back. Just holler if you need us. I'm gonna pull up your home page just so people can, everybody can see it. Well, I don't know. No, you know what I'll do? We don't need to see that. People would rather see you. Okay. Ready, John?
Hey.
Let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, well, we're back. We're going to talk all things Sean and Action Retro. We learned Sean is in Philadelphia.
Yep.
And he has a poster on the way. And what else did we learn? You're staying safe. And you've got a channel called Action Retro. And the channel, your description says just this: extreme amateur vintage broken computering.
Yep.
That pretty much sums it up. I'm not sure what else we have to say.
And so you started about 6 months ago, right? You started doing videos.
Yeah. So I think the extreme amateur part of it is pretty spot on, because I'm definitely not an expert. I've always just tinkered around with old computers, and especially old Macs, and I've always been kind of obsessed with trying to see how far old computers could be pushed. My very first computer when I was a kid was a 286 laptop that I bought at a flea market, and I was always obsessed with trying to get that online. And then I upgraded that to a 386, and was very excited when I could get AOL Instant Messenger running on Windows 3.1 on my Grayscale 386 laptop. So since then, I always keep an eye out on Craigslist and thrift shops and all sorts of stuff, looking for old Macs. And back in the day, I was always on Apple Fritter, looking at the cool stuff.
I love Apple Fritter. Yeah,
68K MLA,
Mm-hmm.
and people saving and salvaging old Macs and upgrading them and doing cool stuff. So I've always kind of done that. And then, we're stuck inside all this time. So kind of on a whim, I was like, well, let me make a little video about this stuff I'm doing.
Nice.
And, so I've been doing that about once a week, trying to make a video of me tinkering around with computers, which, I'd be doing anyway. And it's been a lot of fun.
What was your first Mac that you picked up? So
my first real Mac that I actually used was Blue and White G3 that I bought at a thrift shop. I think it came with Mac OS 8.6. And I think I upgraded that to 9. And then I think I even was in the original beta for OS 10 on that thing. Yeah, this was back in high school. So hazy memory of it, but yeah. I remember being very amazed at OS 10 on that thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, it looked really cool. You couldn't really do much with it, but had that lickable interface. Well, I was looking at your videos that you've been doing over the last 6 months. The first one, a very bold diskette box opening.
Yeah, that was my test.
I pumped up your numbers by giving you one other view, but it's taken off since then, and especially the last one, this cursed Mac. I guess it must have got picked up by some highly trafficked website. Somehow I came across it.
Well, I thought I saw some. Wasn't that on Cult of Mac?
Was it?
Was it?
I thought that.
Was it?
Maybe not.
Maybe it just came up on my YouTube feed.
So I know YouTube the algorithm kind of picked it up. So I can see in my analytics that it says homepage recommended for this one and the following. So I think what happened is the title and thumbnail struck a chord with people, so they clicked through, opening a cursed Mac SE, which I do contend this was a cursed computer.
Right. It probably keyed in because cursed is kind of the year 2020. So,
In fact, that was one of the comments on the video was if 2020 was a Mac.
Oh my gosh, that's
My,
funny.
my
That
favorite
is great.
comment someone left on this.
So for those, get us up to speed for those listening or watching that aren't familiar with the cursed Mac. What is the what's the quick background on that?
So I saw this thing on Craigslist. It was a compact Mac, and it was black in color and had what appeared to be a Jazz drive and a CD-ROM drive hacked into the case of it. The computer painted black, the keyboard painted black and blue, and the mouse also black and blue. He advertised it for $100. I asked for 65 since who knows what it was. And picked it up in a supermarket parking lot, got it home and started filming and tore it apart. Discovered inside a lot of crazy stuff. But most importantly, although it's a Mac SE case, inside of it was a Mac SE30 motherboard maxed out with 128 megs of RAM and I guess a Mac 2 ROM in there. We thought that it didn't want to boot, but I think it was just the memory test was taking forever. It turns out there was the SCSI CD-ROM drive in there. That was the cursed part because if you push the button, it would just open and close itself like 20 times.
Was that not just a sticky button? Do you think?
No, there's actually no button in there. It's just the metal plane underneath. You got to kind of stick your fingernail in there.
Oh,
that's
And,
crazy. Wow.
Yeah. Once you press it, good luck because it's going to open and close for like a minute.
Mhm.
And then it came with an external Jazz drive too. So it has 2 Jazz drives. And one of them was being used as the boot drive. So Jazz disks are a gigabyte, which is pretty crazy for an SE30. So it had 2 of those.
Well, the inside one wasn't even connected.
Yeah, that one wasn't connected. And I'm pretty sure the reason was that power supply was not going to be able to handle it.
It was like
And
probably
think
one or
actually
the other.
Yeah. So it had just the CD-ROM and the hard drive hooked up. And the power supply, I think, is a little shaky anyway because the screen has a little bit of the wobble. So pretty sure that's going to need to be addressed. And maybe he had them all hooked up at one point and that was too much of a strain on it.
Yeah, I wondered if there's like some interference problems with all that, some
Extra
of that
stuff
stuff
in
in
there? Sure.
proximity
I
to
can see
the
that, yeah.
monitor.
Yeah.
The thing that first struck me about this was, I mean, in addition to, you know, the faceplate, and you've got this, it's not every day you see a CD-ROM wedged into a compact Mac. And then the Jazz drive on top of that, it's like, oh my gosh, that's like next level. And I've never even seen a Jazz drive in a Mac, and then booting a Jazz drive, even the external one. I mean, we know about booting, using zip disks and doing that, and it's a great way of having a lot of storage on your Mac. But I guess I never thought about a Jazz drive and doing the same thing with a Jazz drive. Is there any real difference? You just have to make sure you have the driver, you get it on a floppy or something and get it. I know there was a dance. Remember back when you had to do the zip,
right?
Yeah, and you always ran into this problem, like if you put the zip disk in the wrong order or did something, you could wipe out the
booting. It won't work on the old ones. Yeah,
it wouldn't boot anymore.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm kind of intrigued,
right,
about getting a Jazz drive now and connecting it to an old Mac. So you figured it out. It was a mess inside. I mean, it was just a rat's nest of wires. I mean, the 4 speakers that were connected, this like 4 tiny, like crappy little speakers. They were all just connected to the CD drive.
So that was my favorite part. I think it had those 4 crazy speakers connected with just like stereo speaker wire. Nothing was soldered in place.
Nothing shielded either, right? Next to
Yeah, and not even with electrical tape. So the wires were twisted together and had just like masking tape holding them together. And the 4 speakers, the wire ran to the CD-ROM drive, but the computer sound was also spliced into that wire. So he could play CDs through it and have system sounds coming out of those 4. All 4 were different. Completely different speakers just glued to the case.
But there are no grills outside the case. They were just mounted to the metal case.
Yeah.
So
well,
it wasn't.
maybe there's nice acoustic quality in it. It's like the inside of a guitar.
Yeah. Well, you rip this thing apart, and then so what's the strategy now to revive? Well, I guess I mean you can go back and I recommend you go watch the videos to see the whole process. But eventually, you were able to get this booted using some cool stuff that we're fans of, right? So what did you use to bring it back to life?
So it didn't want to boot off of the hard drive. It started to boot off of, I think I got it to boot once off of the external Jazz drive.
Yeah,
but then I tore it apart and I popped, I have a Rominator 2 ROM sim. So that does a couple of things. One, it disables the memory check, so it doesn't take 6 years to check 128 megs of RAM. And it also has a ROM disk in it with System 7. So I was able to boot into the ROM disk, which is super fast, and then kind of check out what was working and see the machine in action. So, and that also helped me now. I've installed SCSI to SD in there, and I was able to use the Rominator to make sure that the CD driver in the Rominator is actually very good. So just pop that in, and I was able to use a third-party CD-ROM drive in there. So, yeah.
Do you have the programmer for the Rominator?
No, and I'm a little bit afraid of it. I don't want to.
Oh, well, you can't get him anymore. He's got the plans for making it. I'm just curious. Yeah. The Rominator is awesome. That's what I've gotten this guy back here too.
Do you have that programmer?
I wish I did. I really do, because I'd like to tweak the onboard OS that's on the Rominator.
It would be nice to have a few more utilities, although I don't know what would fit. I mean, ResEdit is on there, which is excellent. And then, of course, I guess SCSI Probe and the hard disk utility. All the good stuff.
So you sent me a picture of what it currently looks like. So you've got the a different CD-ROM drive because the other one wasn't working. And so that works okay now. I can see it mounted there with Mac OS 8. What, an install disk for Mac OS 8 on there?
Yep.
And then there's that SD card on the front. And so can you tell me about that little thing there with the SD card? What can you do with the USB connection there on the front?
Yeah, so that's the SCSI to SD. And they sell these nice little brackets for it. They come in black and white. So I've got a black one here. And the USB port in the front is just to access files on the SD card to mount it like a USB device.
Is it a version 6?
I think it's 5 something.
The 5 something? Okay.
Yeah. Not the latest one. So what I'm thinking is, I do want to put the Jazz drive back in there. So I think I'm going to have this SCSI to SD internally somewhere.
Oh.
And then either cut a hole so I can access the SD card or just run a USB cable out the back. I'm thinking the Kensington lock slot in the back of it, who has a Kensington lock? So I could run a USB cable out the back of that.
So everybody in Kensington, I think.
Here's another option for you is that you can buy a SD card receptacle with a long cable with the SD other end, so you could basically have it, an extension cable for your SD. You could do that and then actually have the SD sticking out of the back. You could use the slot on the back. I'll take a picture and show you what I'm talking about, or see if I can find one on Amazon. That might be a very good.
You can connect another SD reader to this USB port and boot from that.
No. This would stick into the slot where the SD card currently is, and give you a cable and give you so you could have the SD card outside of. So easy access. If you did that and you did a USB male to female, you'd be all set. Everything would be accessible from the outside.
Well, I know what I'm doing then. That's 100% what I'm going to do.
Nice. So now you essentially have an SESD HD.
Yeah. And then the one other thing I want to note here is it's running OS 8.1. I had a lot of people say, you need a 68040 for OS 8.1 or OS 8, but no, you can hack that onto a 68030.
You just need the clean 32-bit clean ROM, which the Rominator provides. Yeah.
And then you just do a little bit of ResEdit hacking on the site gamba.org, I think, which is it's mirrored on Vintage Apple /Gamba, I think. VintageApple.org/Gamba has instructions for hacking OS 8 onto an SE30, and they're very good, and they work, as you can see.
Nice.
Platinum in all of its 1-bit glory.
All right. Well, still lots more to do. And if you want to follow the progress, go over to Action Retro on YouTube. And anything else we should talk about? I think that pretty sums it up. That's a really cool find, and I'm glad you're embracing it and taking it even further.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let's look out there in the chat and see what's going on. A lot of good info out there. Yep. Nice cat, of course. What's
the cat's name?
Oh, that's Surrey.
Nice.
So that's me trying to install Leopard onto it. Didn't quite take.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on to the news.
The
news.
I got those up there.
Let's see. All right, you ready to go?
I am all set.
Let's go in 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's time for the news. Just a single news story, and it's kind of old news, but it became new news again when Tom's Hardware picked it up 10 days ago. The title is Raspberry Pi Project Connects 1989 Macintosh SE30 to the Internet. What year is it? We don't care. And Tom's Hardware, normally I look at Tom's Hardware as like a hardcore PC website, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I go if I'm going to get a new video card for my gaming rig or something like that. But so it's always interesting when they publish a classic Mac story like this. So they sort of summarize, but if you dig into it, it actually goes into an article on Metal Babel 68K blog called The Final Frontier, Connecting a Macintosh SE to the Internet with a Raspberry Pi. This was published back in February 8th, 2020. So this is a cool little project. And what they've done, as you can see there in the photo, they're actually on an SE with a Google page pulled up in, I don't know, what would be that browser?
It's Mac Web.
Mac Web, okay. But in order to do that, they needed an intermediary, and they used a Raspberry Pi to sort of get past or translate or whatever. There's old computers aren't going to easily communicate with modern websites. I don't know if that sums it up. Anybody can explain that better to me? What it's doing?
It's stripping out all the stuff that the old computer can't understand. It's a proxy running on the Raspberry Pi. So the Raspberry Pi the SE30 requests the page through the Pi, and the Pi takes out all of the bad stuff and gives it back to the SE30 so Mac Web can understand just the plain HTML of it.
Yeah.
Damn, that's awesome. Yeah.
That is cool
description.
And the other way too, I would imagine. So they can interact. I would imagine it can only go so far. What the Raspberry Pi is equipped to do. I don't know. I don't know if that program that they're using is so robust that you can almost do everything you want to do from your SE through the internet, or if it's fairly limited to basic web pages.
Well, I think it's limited so far as if the thing you're trying to do is a static page, then you're okay.
Yeah.
Nothing interactive, and it seems like even images are kind of a problem from these pictures on the site here.
It looks like it, yeah. They're certainly not going to be going to your YouTube channel and
No, I
bumping
think
up your
no
numbers.
YouTube, no Discord. Slack is probably out of the question.
Yeah, and you sent us a link of this. There was another project, right, with a Mac Plus that had done that earlier.
Oh,
That's
yes.
been going on.
Yeah. So this is obviously this is an SE, but you can even do this. It was actually either a 512 or 128K Mac that they did that with. So
Yeah.
it's a great way to, the Raspberry Pis have been such a boon for the maker community, the retro community. There are people who are now using them to basically turn into virtual floppy drives for various systems.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming a one-stop shop for retro goodies. It's really cool.
Yeah, I was trying to see. There's no pictures here, but I'm pretty certain that the RetroPie or the Raspberry Pi used in this is not in the case, which would have been really cool if this was like a self-contained sort of solution.
There isn't any reason you couldn't do that. I mean, it's especially with the SE and the SE30. It's got the plate and the plate on the back that's removable because of course that one allowed a card. So yes.
That would be pretty funny to have a Raspberry Pi in there as a network card, and your network card is about 1,000 times more powerful than the computer itself.
You're right. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, interesting. The Final Frontier. Well, there it is. Metal Babel. So kudos to Metal Babel for getting this to work. I don't know. Now, Sean, you're going to be with yours. You're going to be running a more modern operating system, so you won't have those same kind of issues. And did you put the network card back in it?
Not yet, but I plan on it, and we'll see how far, I guess, IE 5.5 can be pushed.
All right. Well, hey, we did it. We finished the episode. Oh, we got to do the outro though, right?
And also week? Maybe what we're going to do next week. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know
what are we going to do?
Is it still August next week?
It is still August. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
You and I can drop into the studio and figure that out.
Sounds good.
Let's see. Derek says that the 4-speaker system in the SE must have been a quadraphonic solution. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes
surround sound if you're inside the SE, right?
I think it's Dolby 4.1, right? 4 speakers.
You're not putting the speakers back, are you? Are you gonna do something with that?
I don't know what I'm gonna do about the speakers yet. I think I might try to find one nice one.
Yeah.
So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's so great.
All right. Let's see. Let's get us all back in the room. And when you're ready, Sean or John?
I am.
All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Well, we made it to another episode. Next week is still TBD. Maybe we'll be talking about what Sean has done again. I think it'll still be August, so I don't know. We'll figure it out, John.
Yeah, we'll have to look around.
Yeah, I keep waiting to hear that John's going to poke up with his that mystery project that you had discussed. I think it's been like over a year now.
I
think you even teased it with.
You know what? You are correct. Maybe I do need to pull that out and take a look. And tell you what, we'll talk about it no matter what. How's that sound?
Oh, well, do you remember what we've revealed thus far?
Not much.
I think we revealed what the core hardware is.
We're talking the eMate, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So there's an eMate.
There's an eMate involved.
I'll even go so far as an eMate Raspberry Pi project. and go with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, we'll force John into giving us something next week. And Sean, thanks for joining us. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad you could join
Yeah.
us here. And
Thank you so much for having me. This was a
Yeah.
blast.
great. And we'll see you in our chat in the future, and we'll be watching what you're doing out there, and maybe cross paths again.
Yeah, well, I'm always in your chat, so
Okay.
So, Sean, I have just sent you a Amazon link
nice.
to what will help you with that. So,
Thank you very much.
yeah.
All right. Well, if that's all, then we'll join you next week. And until then, remember, it's not old.
It's retro.
All right. Well, we're still live. We
Yeah.
just stopped our audio podcast. So everybody behave. We'll close out here with the chat room.
Don't make us pull this podcast over.
I don't know if everybody hung in with us. It's nice to see Derek waking up really early to join us. And Klaus still out there from Sweden. Jeremy from London. And
I just love that, you know, this international crew of
I
people
know.
that join us. It's,
I don't know if Joe is still out there. Maybe. I want to see. I'm trying to make out what's behind you in the shot.
The poster?
Yeah.
Instruments too, huh?
Oh yeah. So the poster is the same thing I have on my YouTube header. It's my Apple II GS motherboard. I took a shot of it once at like an angle, and thought it looked really cool. So I've used it everywhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I see some guitars.
Yeah, I've got a lot of guitars. I've got a camera here because I'm still filming the cursed Mac.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what are you using for a microphone?
So I just got this new one, which is an audio TZ audio product, which I read very good reviews on, and is pretty inexpensive. I was using a pretty cheap like Shure SM58 before, which is like like a generic stage microphone kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds great.
Oh yeah, it really does. Mm-hmm.
And is you have to take it through some kind of interface to your computer, or what do you?
Yeah, so I've got a Scarlett Focusrite Solo USB interface plugged into my Linux laptop here. And I also have a little interface on my camera to plug this directly into the camera, so I don't have to do any weird mixing in post-processing. Nice and easy.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks again, and we'll
Thanks everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Goodbye, everybody. We are ending the broadcast.